Hi guys, Ryan Bailey here, bringing you episode number 18 of the Ball Talk podcast, where today I was joined by Irish comedian Tom O'Mahony. In part 1 we bounced around a lot of different topics like comedy, acting, and there's plenty more, so I hope you enjoy.
Good, very good. Yeah, not too bad. I'm you're making the best of life, like everybody is, I suppose, at the moment. Trying to take in this. Life has gotten lovely and simple in a lot of ways. Now, I'm obviously missing gigging, but I've been podcasting like a mad bastard, basically, and trying to create stuff online, a steep learning curve for a non-techie idiot, basically, is what this has been. So my time has been filled with trying to learn stuff that I had no grasp of before. Like, so, oh yeah, I can't complain. I'm out the country. It's not raining. I'm all right.
Good stuff. Yeah, it's been a funny old couple of months now. Like, there's more time to. I'd even see the likes of yourself now, at different comedians, and that you're getting time to try out new material. And I suppose there's more things that you're seeing that you're like, geez, I could make a joke of this or something like that. You know, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I'm doing a gig tonight, an online gig tonight. All right, like for the Russian Dove in Galway, and I've stuff written, but there's also the fear that God, I got tired of listening to Corona stories and everything. But I have a few little nuggets that I know full well that it'll just tap it just right. You know what I mean? And then we'll steer away from it. But yeah, I mean, life experiences wise, not an awful lot has changed. Like, but you know, I said not change, but what it is for comedy, you do need to go out and see stuff to create stories and everything else.
Yeah,
there hasn't been a lot of ability to do that, but it kind of forces you in other ways then to find out things about yourself. You know what I mean? So if you write comedy, you'll find something to write about, regardless. You could write about skirting boards if you try hard enough.
Exactly. Yeah, and like when as you're saying there, writing comedy, do things just, like, say when you start out as a comedian, over time, have you found that you could just look at something, let's say like 5-10 years ago, you would have seen something like, right, that's just whatever it is, and now you're like, geez, I could fucking make something of this.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, skirting board, you could go, okay, I'm going to have to dig in a bit now and have to think about that. Like, yeah. But you think both sides now, especially because early on you're going, well, geez, I find this very funny. So you're thinking on almost one track. You're like, well, this is, but what you really have to, you need the other track in line, which is the audience. What do they find? It's almost like, you know, if you're producing a good product of any sort, you know what your customers want.
Yeah.
If you get me. And that's where your brain goes. And also, like, you come, I'm guessing it's like being really good at sports or just doing anything. If you think about it all the time and you put yourself in that environment all the time, just by proxy, you're going to get good at it, like, you know, and you will find stuff like, and I think that's what people tend to like about my comedy. They go, Jesus Christ, how did you, been looking at that moment or that situation or that subject you're talking about has been looking me in the face for the last 30 years of my life. How did I not see that? And I take savage pride in that. It's like you just dug up a little nugget that people didn't think about, you know. You did this bit about being just living in cities that I still, when I'm drinking tea outside, I have to throw away the last quarter of it. Just chuck out the last drop of tea and, you know, you're done then.
Yeah.
It wasn't the most intellectual thing I've ever written in my life, but it went out on RT on the Galway Comedy Festival. They did a televised. They put up a bunch of our sets, and my God, the amount of people that tweeted me off the back of that, sending me like TikToks. I'm not even on TikTok of them throwing out the back and go, Tom. It's like I knew a lot of people did it, but that's the real sense of pride. And that would drive you on then to go, I need to find more of that stuff. You know what I mean? So when you lean towards something for 10 years on the trot, stuff definitely does come easier to you.
And is there anything, like you were saying there's jokes that you might find funny and then you're like, I wonder will the audience find this funny? Do you test them out like at home or like, you know, your mates and like in the WhatsApp or like something like that? Or would you just go on stage and like, you're like, feck it, I'm just going to give this a go and see how it goes.
Yeah, there's no point in saying it to your girlfriend or to the boys. It's not in a month of Sundays will it work. It mightn't even work in front of an audience the first 3 times you tell it because the audience mightn't be right for it. Because audiences change like the wind, and because it's such a fresh bit, You might have a bit that you've done a few times and you're really good at it. And with a weird audience, you can just switch gears and change a few words because it's so subtle. A few words, few punctuations. But with the new bit, you just have to keep hammering it against the wall, but it has to be a live audience. I can put it to herself all right, like, but she'll go, because she's very good at critiquing comedy now at this stage because she knows the intricacy, like the science of it. There is a science to it, like, and she'll go, Tom, that's fucking old news. I'm going, yeah, it's old news, but I know I can get something out of it. She goes, all right, let's see. And she won't ask me anymore. But the next thing I'll do, she'll go, well, and I'll go, yeah, right enough, yeah. But less and less you avoid those pitfalls, and more and more I just dump stuff. I go, yeah, there's a possibility, but you put it away in the back of your head and go, I'll let that sit in the cupboard now at the back of my head, because what you'll need for that, you might need a little add-on. Do you know what I mean? That add-on mightn't come to you for another 6 months, and the add-on then will go, I've done a joke 3 years apart that it just got a little bit of butter put in it, and that finished off the sandwich. You know what I mean? And you couldn't work out what it was, but it's just, and that's the beauty. That's what drives comedians crazy about comedy. That's why they're so in love with it, because it's those beautiful moments where you go, yes, I have it. Yeah. Right. And and then when you take it to the stage and it's absolutely blows the roof off the place, you're like, well, there we go. That's why I will do this forever. You know what I mean? Those moments like we're going, it's the perfect form of creation. Nothing else. You needed nothing, only a microphone. And even if the microphone bust, you'd still be able to shout it at him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And say now when you're gigging like around the country, have you got, I suppose, specific jokes that you know that you can tell, or stories you can tell in certain parts of the country that will get laughs? And then like there might be a joke you'll tell in Dublin that people will get, and you might tell it in Galway or Mayo and they'll be like, all right, okay. Or is it just a universal sort of thing?
But you definitely are switching gears, like, you know what I mean? If I'm in a Haskell, I'm definitely not telling the same jokes I'm telling in Jobstown in Dublin, like, you know what I mean? There's no point. You're doing yourself an injustice, you know what I mean? Now, joke-wise, yeah, but you might have to just change the subject matter ever so slightly too, because you don't want to alienate people from things they don't know about, you know what I mean? And people's attitudes to some things are different in the big city versus, you know what I mean, down at home and tip, like, you know, where they go, Era, so what you were, you know, it doesn't stress people out in different ways, certain sort of situations, you know. So you switch gears. If you're really not behaving like a pro if you rock up going, well, you all must understand what I'm saying, right? You're not behaving like a professional until you get to the national TV standard. You get lucky enough to be national TV standard comedian, where you go to anywhere in the country, they're your people coming to see you. Do you know what I mean? So they're ready for your stuff regardless. So, but when you are, say, just a headliner club comedian like me, you understand that not everybody in the room cares or knows who you are. They just want to come and see good comedy. So you have to accommodate them, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because I think it was there was a podcast that Owen Colgan did recently enough with some lad. I think he was up Dublin direction. And he told him this sort of a joke, or he made a comment, Owen did, and it was like something made me laugh, because I'm from the west of Ireland, and I thought it was brilliant. And you could tell the lad that was doing the podcast with him was like, all right, yeah. Like you're like, do you not get that? Like, that's pure comedy gold. And like, do you know what I mean?
It happens though. It does happen. Like, you'd be talking to lads and it's just lost on them too, you know, especially over this platform, you know, it's sometimes it's hard to convey a thing like, but yeah, country things can be lost on city folk, especially, you know, like and we on our podcast, we talk about it all the time, like, where people think they've seen very dramatic things, like, you know, and you're going, what are you talking about? Like, that kind of stuff happens all the time in the countryside. People almost die all the time in the countryside. Like, you're dicing with death continuously if you work on a farm or anything like that, you know. So it's horses for courses, like, and you can have a lot of fun with that too, like, you know, where you poke references that just wouldn't work in either place. But for the most part, the spine of your show, your set, will work fine, like, but you do have to tailor your references, because it's lazy if you don't, and it's kind of obnoxious to think that, fuck you should all get this, like, you know.
Yeah. And is there any, but on saying that though, is there any jokes that you know will work? wherever you go into, like if it's to break the ice or something like that, and when you first go up on stage?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like I said, the vast majority of it will work. Like, you know, I mean, country versus city in Ireland, it's not that the difference. Like when you gig abroad, that's where you really test yourself now. You know what I mean? Because you're not going to be doing any references about the Irish government or anything like that. You know, there's no point. Like, you know, so you do have to make sure your stuff is relatively universal, or at least talking about where they are. You know, you do a gig like in Brussels, which I've gigged a fair few times, and that's mental because quite literally the entire audience is made up of not just the European Union, but a world union. So you've lads from the Congo sitting over there, you know, you've maybe two women from the Czech Republic sitting there, you know, so it's just from all over the place. These multicultural cities like Barcelona and stuff, your whole audience is going to be from everywhere. So you do have to create universal stuff too, like, you know.
Yeah. And like is there a language barrier there as well?
Rarely. You might if you went to Sligo, all right, there's a bit of a language barrier. But no, there's rarely, because they know it's an English-speaking night. And embarrassingly, their English is unbelievably good. And us here in Ireland, we can speak nothing, only English. Most of Europeans, professional Europeans, the bastards, they normally speak about five languages fluently. Because it's just, you have to, you know what I mean? So when they know it's English-speaking comedy, they'll come. Because now you'll get some dragged along to it too, who only have broken English and they don't fully understand. So you have to you've got to slip her back to second gear there. Like there's no point in going at full South Tipperary tempo, like, because they're not going to get it, you know. So you have to, again, that's tailoring it. You'd be obnoxious to think that, fuck you may get it, and then walk off and go, blame the audience for you not, you know, catering to them, because, you know, they are the fee-paying audience.
Yeah. And I've been talking to a few different people now the last few weeks, like Richie Ryan, he's a professional footballer, and Kevin Egan's a sports commentator as well. With yourself being a comedian and actor, is it a dream job? Like these lads have their dream jobs, but in terms of the hard work that comes along with it, is there?
No, it's not even. I mean, you can crib, moan, and complain about the work that goes into it, and people do, which blows my mind. You're like, if you're getting fucking paid to tell jokes and have the crack on a stage or something, are you joking me? Like, have you ever had to swing a sledge for 12 hours a day? I can tell you, you know the difference between this is, you're living in, absolutely living the dream. Do you know? I mean, you could hope for a bit more success, but I'm able to make a wage out of this thing. You know what I mean? I get to tell jokes for a living. I can't think of. So for people who like to be funny as a nation, especially, because comedy is kind of a currency here, like being funny is a thing.
Yeah.
Do you know, that's not a thing in a lot of nationalities. It's not a thing. They just think you're weird if you want to be funny. It's just, but here it's a currency. And so, but it does take a lot of hard work, and I'm not taking any shine off it by saying that, because it's not really, if you desperately want anything. And that's sometimes I talk, or, you know, or I hear comedians will say, up and coming comedians, they're going, you know, it's a lot of work. And you're like, if you really consider this work, then you're not in the right game. You need to find something else. You're doing it because you think this is what you want. You know, if you're going to piss, moan, and complain, oh, well, now we got to get a car to drive around the country. Yeah, fucking go get one. Go get one. Yeah. Put a car on the road. I don't have the money. Make the money somewhere to do it. Fucking working as another job to do it. Pay your insurance. Get whatever you have to do. It shouldn't feel like a job. It shouldn't feel like hard work to get to where you are. But to a lot of people, putting up, you know, 2,000 in a week would be a pain in the hole for a lot of people. It's not for me, because it's part of the gig. At the end of it, I get paid to tell jokes. So
exactly,
it's living the dream, really. Like.
And in terms of comedy as well, it's something that I was actually telling you that I wanted to talk to you about as the future of comedy. Because we've seen a lot now on, whether it be Twitter or whatever, there's a lot of criticism, I suppose, towards Father Ted and Fawlty Towers and all these programs. And there was a thing there, I think it was Gone with the Wind was taken off telly, but it's back on now. Things like that. What's your whole stance on that?
Yeah, I look at the broad spectrum of a lot of things, like, and I think things take they'll think things all go in patterns. Whether it's a 10 to 20-year pattern, things all go in everything goes in patterns. Now, obviously, there was no such thing as social media 25 years ago, but there was things like that. Everything goes in patterns. And this is a pattern that has happened before. You know what I mean? Where it's uber sensitivity for a moment in time, like, and silly things, you know, like League of Gentlemen getting, you know, taken off like it never existed. Like, it's fucking mental to suggest that things didn't exist. Well, we'll just get rid of it and pull it. Like, it always irked me anytime I read to call Lansdowne Road the Aviva. And on every website, the FAI website or the IRFU website, they obviously went for word change, and Aviva insisted on this. And when they talk about like games that happened pre the takeover, they call it the Aviva Stadium in 1989. You're like, are you fucking trying to pretend, you know? And it just that even Aviva was called Hibernian back then as an insurance company. But so it's almost as silly as that, is to pretend things didn't happen. And look, a lot of these things they were saying, they're never, it's almost never the people that they think are being affected by it come out with these things. I always question people who get hypersensitive on behalf of people, because in my head I'm thinking, you're doing something, you're up to something, or there's something wrong with you. Like you know, normally people that are shouting, guys, we need to be better too. And you're like, yeah, I know. It doesn't need to be said. It shouldn't need to be said. It's like telling everybody, you shouldn't murder. Guys, we definitely shouldn't murder people. Like, yeah, we know. How about just be, you know, a lot of the time when these, like the likes of Fawlty Towers getting pulled, what are you doing? It was, you know, who was kicking down doors as a result of Fawlty Towers and these things? But I do think in patterns, I do think these things will all fade back in again, because the stupidity levels will go, because the hypersensitivity that's there now, I understand that there needs, it's all, what it's doing is it's diluting the real issues, I think. It's putting a silly face on a lot. We shouldn't, you know, getting rid of things that didn't like Gone with the Wind. Fucking joking me, like, you know. It was of its time, and nobody's freaking out about it. It's just there's people paid to go through I suppose everything that's ever been on TV or radio ever, and find things that might be some way controversial or might some way, you know, it's a level of, but in the morning, we saw what a pandemic just did. It leveled a lot of things. Yeah. If we got another serious pandemic, but one that was actually wiping whole nations out, I can tell you all this stuff again. See, people have had a lot of time on their hands too in the last couple of months. So a lot of this shit
and all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Well, it's just like I'm sitting here and I'm going, what the fuck? I need an outlet, and I need to join a team of some sort, because people like joining teams and causes and all the rest of it. And some of these causes are absolutely justified. And I think some, like the likes of these cancelling TV shows that pretend like they didn't exist, I think that dilutes the genuine causes, you know, like the Black Lives Matter. But if you're going, yeah, I'm really, really into that, and then all of a sudden somebody goes, yes, and we're getting rid of League of Gentlemen because there was one mythical character in it who painted his face jet black, like not even trying to be a black person. He was Papa Lazarou that was in it, just painted his face jet black. And had brown teeth. And I go, well, we'll cancel the whole show as a result of that, because, and you're like, no, the two are not related in any way, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And you're almost, you're almost, I don't know, you're diluting the seriousness of the Black Lives Matter movement by saying that this is under the same umbrella. You're like, it's not. It's not even close. It's just comedy, you know?
Like, we were only talking about a few weeks ago there about the Father Ted one. They're on about cancelling the one with the Chinese community on the island. Like we were saying it there, it was in the podcast with the $3 left. I think it was Stephen that was saying it. He said they're not taking the piss out of the Chinese. They're not being racist. They're taking the piss out of racists.
Yeah.
And people don't see there's a fine line between, you know, taking the fucking piss out of it completely and having the crack. And like, I don't think they came anywhere near that line.
No, not at all. And here's the thing: people do. The vast majority of people who have a sense of humor and are smart see exactly what you just said. Yeah. But you'll get 1% who have the power to bitch about everything, and they'll go, "This is racist." And unfortunately, the world at the moment seems to be dictated by those people. Yeah. by even discussing Father Ted in the same context of actual racism is diluting racism.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's the
Yeah,
seriousness
yeah.
of racism. Would you leave that shit where it is? Leave the good stuff where it is, where
Yeah.
it actually poked fun at being racist as racists. It was a really smart move what they did, and they put it they put it through the guise of hilarious comedy. You know, I
It's
suppose
probably
we're
one of
all
the best
racist.
episodes they ever made.
I suppose we're all racist now, Father, are we? You know,
Yeah.
just brilliant to put,
Yeah.
and the smart people will get that. For
Definitely.
some reason, these fucking, and I don't know who these people are. I would love to meet these people. I'd love to fucking meet these people
And hear their argument. Like,
I hear their fucking argument. Like, it's almost like the Emperor's New Clothes. We can all see that it isn't a problem. Everybody and the mother could see that that's not a problem. But yeah, I remember, like, I don't get much complaints after my gigs. You know, most people, they understand that it's all comedy, and I'm not exactly the bluest comedian. Yeah, it's fucking high tempo and a bit aggressive, all right. But I remember I had a guy come over to me in a comedy club in Dublin one night, and he says, "Can I talk to you really quickly?" Big American lad, and really good looking fuck, like looked like your man Tyrese. The guy was stunning looking, like. And I was like, Jesus Christ, that's a good looking man. What's his problem? Like, he says, now I didn't think you said it, but I got to clear this up for my girlfriend because she just won't fucking listen to me. I went, all right, what can't you clear up that I'm going to say? He goes, right at the beginning of your set, did you address the audience by using the N-word? I went, what? How? What? No. What? No. I think I said hello. And he went, yeah, I thought that's what you said. Yeah, he was American. And I said, hold on a second. How long are you here? How long are you in Ireland? He says, well, we got in this morning. I said, so you have no concept of what Ireland's like at all? He went, no, I suppose not. That's not even a word that's used here. That's a terrible word that Americans have. I said, and it wouldn't make any sense. You're probably one of maybe two black people in a room full of 400 people. What? How? What? And he goes, that's what I was trying to say to her, that this wouldn't make any sense, and that it didn't even sound like that. But so well, you may go over to her and tell her you're right, and she can retrospectively enjoy the other 28 minutes of my set, like. And as I'm walking past, the girlfriend is throwing me filthies. Amazingly, the girlfriend is white, right? And she was a big old unit too. Like, she was punching well above her weight. Now, your man could have he could have half the fellas in the room. He was that good looking, right? And he's looking at the ground because obviously he hadn't convinced her in any way. And I was walking past because I was heading to another gig, and I stopped. I says, "Did himself tell you?" She goes, "I heard what I heard." But you fucking didn't hear it because it wasn't physically said. There's close to 400 people in this room who didn't hear a thing that wasn't said, and you're going to sit there, big, thick American. I heard what I heard said. I goes, do you know what? I think you're racist. And she looked at me. I went, yeah, because you heard you were to be ready to be hypersensitive on his behalf, which means that you're not comfortable with you see color. I don't see color at all. I just see a nice bloke. You could see her face just dropping. I said, so stop being such a racist, would you? Yeah. And stop being so hyper. Because she was just ready to be offended on behalf, because she wasn't comfortable. You could tell, like, if she was utterly comfortable with the fact that her boyfriend was African American, it wouldn't even enter her mind. But it's there for that. Well, I'd say, because she was looking around going, look at all the, because I've heard this from one or two people who visit Ireland from America, and they're going, there's not a lot of black people around here. And go, well, yeah, but you know, it's not like America where we went and robbed millions of them and enslaved them 400 years ago. So lads only come here if they want to come here, you know. But I think that was but it was just interesting. She is the 1% that go, I think you'll find. Like it was their perfect example of it. The lad enjoyed the shit out of the show, but because of his girlfriend being ready to be hypersensitive on his behalf, and rather than him going, would you shut up for fuck's sake? He didn't say it. He was, you know, go. Can you imagine that? Go over and ask the comedian if he said that thing. You know, rather than going, he fucking exactly didn't say it, you know.
It's that 1%.
So she is that. I wouldn't even say 1%. I'd say, if even 0.5. Like, she was just, and she was a fucking knob of the highest order, who was ready to hear words that weren't even said. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like it's the type of thing now. If you don't want to, this is a bit my take on it personally. If you don't want to watch something, if you don't want to listen to someone, don't watch it. You know?
Yeah, but for some reason they make out like you're shoving everything down their throat and you're showing up in their living room and kicking it into their face. You know, when we've never lived in a greater age of choice.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Like, I'm a staunch United fan, and Liverpool won the league the other night, and I didn't go writing or putting up petitions saying how this is wrong. I just didn't fucking watch it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, there you go.
It's as simple as that. Like,
you're neutral sick in your shit watching it. Like, so exactly. Yeah. I'm a firm believer in that. If it isn't for you, don't be looking at it, because you'll only annoy yourself. Like, get on with something else. Like,
definitely, yeah. But yeah, even in terms of your material now, is there anything that you think you might have to change?
No.
Or are you just like
no. Boat anchors in. Not a fucking hope. Not a hope. I'm not softening on anything, because you're belittling the audience by thinking they're that you're speaking to children or something. Do you know what I mean? I think, and here's the thing, where's you're not 99.9% of audience they've chosen to go to comedy. They know what it's about. It's having the crack. Do you know what I mean? It's having the crack. And as soon as I start putting brakes on things and start going, oh Jesus, I won't say that word, or I won't, not that I go that anyway. I prefer to let the material talk for itself rather than using specific language to I'm worried about it. Like, but definitely not. I probably swear more than your average comedian, and I'm going to continue to. I don't give a fuck. It's just that's just how it's going to. It's up to you what you do with it. It's not my fault.
Yeah.
If it's a private show and you book me for your company or whatever, and I said, look, can you just not do these subjects? Absolutely, because you're the employer now. Nope. But if you've walked into a live open forum public forum of a comedy club, you're dictating nothing that I say. Because as soon as we start putting shackles on free speech, it blows up the fucking shop altogether. Because now you're telling me there's stuff coming out of my... Now, I understand if there's hate behind what you're talking about, or, but there's never going to be that in comedy. It's comedy. There's no intent to try and make you laugh. Do you know what I mean? There's no badness in it, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
There shouldn't be any badness in it anyway.
Yeah, like, I think I like to hear that, because that's the brilliance of comedy. Everyone has their own different style. Like, some people like you look at over in England now, say Milton Jones is like his style is very different to like Tim Vine, and Tim Vine is very different to Frankie Boyle's. Like, everyone has their own different way of doing it. If people start bringing in restrictions on comedy, then everyone's just going to be under the same umbrella.
Oh yeah, well, people will start quitting. There'll be no getting into comedy, and all you'll end up with is shit comedy. Because if you're going to be the type of soppy bastard that has to stick between the lines, and I'm not saying there's a rebellious spirit in you or whatever, but it means you're probably fairly under-talented, if that suits you. Oh, lovely, there's some restrictions, is there? Great, because I don't have the talent to actually go anywhere with this stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, comedy you should be able to pull it out of everywhere and do every kind of subject, but if you're putting up, those lanes that they put up in bowling alleys for children and people who are shite or whatever, that's essentially what you're doing. You're going, well, just to be safe, and that, just to make sure the ball makes it all the way down. No, fucking get better at bowling. You know what I mean? Get better at bowling. Definitely. I often, yes, hate speech and the likes are definitely things that can damage people and stuff like that. But in a live public forum, if people are getting stressed out by words, I'm not saying everybody should follow this guideline, but when I used to say the word cunt on stage, I go, I know, it's a wet cloth to the face for some of you, but here's the thing: if you get worried about words, you're clearly not a person who's ever been knocked out with a punch, because that's some attitude adjuster. If you've gotten a straightener and you wake up 30 seconds after somebody knocked you out, the first thing you'll say is, "What cunt hit me?" Because it's a word. If you give so much power to words like that, then you've already lost. You've lost at life. If you're getting stressed out by the odd word, you know what I mean? Don't be letting that stress you. Be getting stressed if somebody levels you with a punch. That's the time to get stressed.
Yeah. That's A1. I think we have a few topics here now, Tom. Do you want to crack into them?
Yeah, absolutely.
Bits and pieces. We've kind of covered. There's one or two I have to pick out now because we've kind of covered bits and pieces on them. But I'll dip in here now and I'll pull out one. See what we get. The first one there. I don't know. Am I backwards on the screen?
No, that's grand. The return of sport.
The return of sport. Yes. So now I'm a Gaelic and soccer man. You're a hurling and rugby man. So we're perfectly matched.
Yeah, perfectly matched. Well, I actually preferred playing Gaelic football growing up in school. Even though in South Tipperary the phrase is only lads that are no good at hurling or play football. But now in South Tipperary actually football was quite big. That's a lie. It was quite big actually. It was and I was better at football. Football suited me better than hurling. But and the rugby only because I was good mulliker. And rugby suited me down to the ground from Mulligan. I never had the finesse that was needed to play hurling. But you watch it, you know yourself. You watch an unbelievable game of hurling, like an absolute rip roar. Cork and Tip or Kilkenny and Cork or whatever, and all not that we've seen Cork in All Ireland final in a while. But the excitement of sport coming back, I don't give a fuck. I'll watch anything at this stage. I was so jealous a couple of weeks ago, and it's the joy that sports gives you. But a couple of weeks ago, I was watching New Zealand played their full stadiums. New Zealand had full rugby stadiums last weekend and the weekend before. And you're watching it going, oh my jeez. The Blues played the Crusaders, and it's 40 or 50,000 people in the stadium. And it was for nothing. It was, it wasn't actually part of the, Super or anything. It was, I don't think it was anyway, but I think it was just provincial. No, it wasn't. It was just provincial games just to get a bit of fucking game time or whatever. But to see the audience, and you knew they were all on the lash all day long because New Zealand opened up. New Zealand have been open out for 2 weeks, solid. They're back to normal as per for the last 2 weeks, and you're going, jeez, but I wouldn't give for a bit of that. Cricket, if I was let in to watch cricket right now, I would watch it.
And I know the GA have brought out their roadmap and stuff like that. It's going to be strange enough now. We're going to be having, I think the hurling final is the 13th of December and the football is the 20th. And then Stephen's Day and Christmas is the following week. So it's going to be very, very strange now.
It will. I'm kind of excited with the overload, but I'm wondering will all our fucking heads explode because they had everything lined up nicely around each other. You know what I mean? Even though they're talking about a world game now of rugby where they move the Southern Hemisphere one back a bit and our one forward a bit. But jeez, I don't know what way hurling is going to be. Even football is going to slow down. It's going to be weird, and the game definitely will change a bit because it's going to be slowed down with the weather and all the rest of it. But you take it right. You take it right now. It's going to be weird. It is going to be weird not to see the speed because obviously the ball. Páirc Keeve is in a fucking bog anyway. But I know they sorted it out some bit. But fuck it, we take it.
Yeah.
Take it. The country, the world needs it.
Yeah. I think ground's not in being good shape though. Because I know our field over here over the road, it's probably one of the best in the county in terms of surface. But now they're putting grass around the goals and stuff like that wasn't there before. There used to be the sand pit in the middle. So the ground is decent, but it's just actually, what we're waiting for now, I suppose, is to see if a case does come out from a game. All it takes is one lad to have it, the other team to get it. If it's South Sligo playing a South Sligo team playing a North Sligo team, South Tip playing North Tip, it gets spread very quickly again. Now, we've been lucky in Sligo now. I think we've only had one case in the last 40 days or something.
That's because you go nowhere.
And we go everywhere. Sure, everyone wants to get the fuck out of Sligo.
I suppose the roadmap is one thing, but I suppose they can look and see how other sports are doing. And I see they're testing every day in the training facilities in UL where Munster are playing, because they just put up a video of it the other day. And they're quite literally, there's the temperature testing, there's one-way systems around, there's all distancing when it comes to training. With the fighting in the UFC, they're isolated the day after they've tested. So they test on a Friday or test on a Thursday. They're just isolated in a hotel amongst all people who are, for the want of a better phrase, clean.
Yeah.
And then they go and fight, you know, and it'll get to a stage. There has to be a cutoff point. They should have a cutoff where they go, if we're 20 days without a death or 30 days without a death nationally, we have to get back open.
Yeah.
Because you can only bend over and take it off this fucking thing for long enough before people would just go. I think the final phase would be when the whole place would seem clear. I would say what the suggestion would be is if you're not feeling the best, or if you're immune compromised, or you're over 70, and it's up to you, but I'd stop at home if I were you.
Yeah.
That would, I think, let people have the choice. It will get to that point where let people have the choice, because I know it's crippling, but there has to be that balance where it gets to a certain point where the country's going, we need the fucking country back open again. You know what I mean? We need sports back going again.
Yeah.
And they'll just have to take
minds altogether.
Lose our minds altogether. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, like even with over in England now, as I said, I be a United fan, so like the soccer coming back is massive. Now it's very strange. I know on Sky Sports what they're doing now. They've got there's a game. Let's say United and Tottenham there last week. You've got the game. It's on two different channels. And one channel is just what it is in the stadium. You can hear everybody shouting for the ball and stuff. The other one, they have like a simulated crowd reaction. I think it's, I don't know, did they take it off FIFA or what?
I was just going to say, did they take it from FIFA? Like,
yeah. And like, it works sometimes, but like, you know, there's a big cheer for a goal and there's nobody in the stadium, like, unless the stewards have fucking microphones or something like. But it's great to even have it back. It's great to have it back.
Oh, but it's healthy. Like, it's healthy to have those little shots of dopamine for your face, and you know, the angry bits, and you need those emotions. We're a very sporting country here, so we do need that. Like,
yeah,
and most countries, but at least they didn't fuck up like they did in South Korea. Did you see that one where they played the soccer match behind closed doors, but they thought it'd be a good idea to stick a few mannequins around the stadium? Did you see that?
I saw that. Yeah,
they accidentally got 1,400 sex dolls, high quality ones too. Like, it wasn't not the inflate. Do you know the ones that cost a couple of grand? Very weird.
Yeah.
But
yeah, very weird. Yeah.
But how do you make that mistake? I put the mannequins in the truck. I did. You definitely didn't put the sex dolls in the truck. No, come on now, because you made this mistake the last day. I definitely didn't. I put 1,400 fucking mannequins a grand. Do you know, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
But why? I don't know. I mean, put 50,000 of them. It was a huge stadium with 1,400 of these sex dolls.
Just a small little section of it.
Yeah, it's fucking. It made no sense.
Yeah.
But then that's Korea. They don't give a shit. They'll do whatever they want.
Not a bit. It's cool enough seeing how they're working it as well. Like, even over in England now, they've got some of the stands to be covered in flags, you know, like the supporters' flags and stuff. And then you'd have some, I think it was Man City and Arsenal there last week. They had a big telly in either stand, and all supporters were watching it, or they had like a Skype or a Zoom cam on or something. But I saw it was, I think it was Leeds. I think it was in the stand in Leeds, and everyone got their own cutout in a certain part of the stand, just like a normal cardboard cutout. You didn't see this, no?
Brilliant. That's brilliant.
They got their own cardboard cutout. So like, I noticed it probably wasn't the full stadium, you know, but it was a certain section of it, and someone had put a picture of Bin Laden as their cutout.
Oh fuck!
So
therein lies the problem with humans. Like, they will fuck it up on you. Yeah, I actually heard and you're only clearing it up for me now. Somebody sent in their pictures, Jimmy Savile as well.
Yeah,
the bastards. Like, so yeah. I know what that means, because I was only being told about it the other day and wasn't fully. Now I know what you're talking about. It makes sense. Yeah, it does. Fuck.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. With the big zoom there's cameras with zoom. Somebody's going to show their arse. So because they're at home. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Yeah, but like, even, you know, you see Bin Laden and Jimmy Savile in the crowd. It's one thing the people sending them in, but it's another thing the book that's there printing out these cardboard cutouts and saying, "Oh yeah, that's sound. Yeah, keep going ahead with that."
Yeah. I mean, you think that'd be top of the list. You go, listen, Brendan, there's going to be the odd fella send in fucking stupid stuff. So just keep an eye out for it. No bother. No bother. I'll know about. No bother. I'll keep an eye out for it. And then Jimmy Savile and Bin Laden comes through. It's like, maybe that's all right. You know,
I know that fella. Don't
seem racist. You know, yeah. He looks familiar. Fuck it. Go on, put it through.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's great to have the sport back and stuff like that. Even the players, like, you know, some fella doesn't cross the ball to another fella. For fuck's sake, you can hear on the camera.
Great.
Martin Tyler's there. We're sorry for any language you might have heard there. Like, you know, and the other commentator laughing then, and it brings a sort of a humane sort of side to it. You know,
yeah.
The swearing and stuff like that. It's good crack to listen to.
We always like, there was funny. I think it was the Six Nations 2 years ago. Kyle Sinclair, who's a pain in the hole at the best times. He's a front row for England, and he was shout every 2 seconds. I think he thinks he's in the NFL. He's always like, you know, he's shouting things that Americans would shout, like, you know, take him to town. You know, he's always shouting stuff in the air, and he annoys all his fucking teammates apparently as well with this old shout, like. And you could hear it in Twickenham over the cameras. Peter O'Mahony turned around and going, "Shut up, you stupid cunt." And there was this moment where the commentators just going, apologies there for anybody. And your man was trying to keep it together because he was going, he is being a stupid cunt. There's no doubt. And it was the way he said it, like a farmer shouting at his young fella or something. "Shut up, you stupid cunt." It was so ignorant. It was perfect. And even your man's face was like, "Oh, fuck, I am a stupid cunt." You know, there was no comeback from just being "shut up, you stupid cunt." There was nothing. It's just like an angry old lad shouting at you.
Oh, it's class. Here, we'll move on to the next one.